Summer '97, good year. First of all, you had GoldenEye, came out for the Nintendo 64, huge hit.
GoldenEye is just one of the greatest games of all time. More non-video game players played GoldenEye than maybe like any game since Mario or so.
This had to have been probably, at the time, the most popular Nintendo 64 game. And because of its multiplayer mode, which was pretty radical at the time, very, very, very addictive.
I think it was responsible partially for destroying my relationship with my boyfriend. He gave a lot of good loving to GoldenEye, not so much to me. I would look in the mirror and I'd be like, what does GoldenEye have that I don't have? And it was always, you know, like excitement.
GoldenEye came out for Nintendo 64 and was produced by Rare, which was a company that worked very closely with Nintendo through the Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 days.
The video game company that made GoldenEye, Rare, was founded by Tim and Chris Stamper in 1983. Of course, you know, the Stamper boys are responsible for Donkey Kong Country.
It's very fitting because Rare is a British company and James Bond is a British series, so it's so British that I actually get Worcestershire sauce on my hands while I'm playing it.
James Bond films had been out for over 30 years, yet there was never a James Bond video game.
Yeah, the GoldenEye movie was the 17th James Bond movie, but the GoldenEye video game is the first decent movie video game ever, perhaps? It's certainly up there.
It took a lot of other successful movie series a long time to come up with their first really good game. Must have taken them like 10 or 12 Star Wars video games before they finally came up with a good Star Wars video game. But the first time out of the gate for James Bond with GoldenEye, they had a winner. GoldenEye is a damn good game.
So the head bad guy in this game, his name is Alec Trevelyan, and he has a lieutenant called Xenia Onatopp. Of course, she's a girl, classic Bond girl, and as I recall, she would kill people by crushing their heads between her thighs, which, if you gotta go out, I guess was not a bad way to go out.
Another character that makes her way into the game from the movie is Natalia. She is a hottie, you know what I'm saying? 00 boing, you know what I'm saying?
How come in all the James Bond movies and subsequent video games, all the scientists and physicists and programmers are all these like super hot, like, give me a break. Denise Richards is a nuclear physicist? My ass.
Pierce Brosnan actually, did you know this? Pierce Brosnan has a tattoo of himself on his belly. You didn't know that, I bet.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he gets in fights with people when they touch it.
My question is, how'd you know that?
I've been in a fight with him.
GoldenEye, the game starts out, you're 007, you're with 006, you're supposed to blow up some Russian chemical factory.
A few years later, Bond goes back to Russia and finds out that the Russians are trying to launch a spy satellite called GoldenEye,
which could be used as a weapon against Earth because it dealt with electromagnetic pulse.
So essentially, you could fire this weapon from space and take out a whole city's power grid.
So in James Bond fashion, you had to stop it, take control of it, and save the day.
This game was really good because it touched you in the nostalgic sense of, I remember when we hated the Russians. What did they suck for? Now you get to kill them again.
GoldenEye was great because a lot of it took place in Russia. I like Russia. I like vodka and communism.
The game kind of gave every Bond fan everything they'd want in a video game, and every video game fan everything they would also want. It was like two universes of huge fandom colliding in one game.
Very, very detailed action fighting sequences, loud noises, barrels exploding, crashes.
Footsteps and ricochets and gunshots and shattering glass. And it seemed like they put a whole bunch of things in the game just to shoot for no apparent reason.
I mean, when you shot barrels, they'd explode, and not only would they explode, but they'd affect other barrels around them. They'd just affect other things around them. It was one of the first times we saw like a really mature representation of like real-world kinetics in a video game.
And then you have the hand that kind of shows up, and you just see the hand. And then if you press a button, and then you have a knife, or sometimes you're just fighting with your hand.
It's kind of a downward chop for when you run out of other weapons, but it's really humiliating when you can kill someone with the slapper, which I like. And I like the sniper rifle. Sniper rifle is another thing that GoldenEye helped popularize. It's been in virtually every video game since.
One-player game was okay, but the real gem of the game was the multiplayer.
The N64 was the first console that had 4 controller ports, so Rare took advantage of that and had an awesome, awesome, awesome multiplayer mode.
Best thing for me about GoldenEye, and probably for 10 million other people, was the multiplayer. You could get 3 of your buddies together and just trash them.
I love multiplayer mode. It's non-linear, it's more dynamic, it's more active, and you get to kill your friends with a knife.
Multiplayer had been big in first-person shooters on the PC side of things for a while, but GoldenEye was the first and still probably the biggest game to take it to the consoles.
If people think like Halo and Doom, Halo 2 have been addictive for the past couple of years, Throw it back to 97, kids.
I actually remember sitting in a hotel room that was rented one night just so that like 20 people could have an all-night multiplayer fest. I mean, it was absolutely crazy.
There were multiplayer drinking games. If you got shot from a sniper rifle, you take a drink. If you got the invisibility cheat and killed 3 people, take a drink. If you cowered in the corner like a little punk, take a drink, take a whole drink.
Do you remember that thing I always used to do to you? I used to, this guy's such a dumbass. I used to throw proximity mines on the body armor every time, and he would go like, oh, I'm gonna suit up, and freaking it would just knock him out. Do you remember that? And
Yeah, it used to be every time you blow me up, I get to punch you in the nuts.
yeah, I love that.
It was always like funny how after a group of friends would play GoldenEye, like whoever won would totally think that meant like they were the greatest person in the world, but like they were still the biggest asshole in the group. You know, they just didn't know it.
You know, if you wanted to like whoop your buddy's ass in real life and, you know, you just got out of juvie or whatnot and you couldn't do that, you'd say, sit your ass down, we're playing GoldenEye.
GoldenEye is probably like a game I'll actually never forget because I spent a lot of time playing GoldenEye, and unlike some other games, you play GoldenEye like with people. So like you actually share the fun with other people as opposed to by yourself crying.
Cool thing about this game too, you had 20 different missions. And each time you finished one of those missions, you could actually go back and play it on a different difficulty level.
You always used to set it on whatever the easiest one
Yeah, I
was.
mean, well, you know, once you start getting to agent, super agent, and then it gets to nut wrenching, and then it gets to, it just gets ridiculous. I just like to play the game and see all the cutscenes, especially that end cutscene where they just kiss for about an hour.
This guy was a pussy.
Also, if you replayed the levels and finished them in a shorter time, you could unlock some cheats. And we all know about cheats.
They almost weren't cheats because you had to earn them, so it wasn't like you were cheating. I like to think.
Some of the cheats you could get in GoldenEye, you could have, of course, unlimited ammunition. You could be invincible. Invisibility, I think, was a cheat.
You can get a golden gun. We like the accessories. Anything gold.
And you could give Bond a little head. Or you could give Bond a big head. So, in case you...
The lesson to be learned from GoldenEye is that it's fun to murder your friends.
I think one reason why people love GoldenEye so much was there have been so many poorly conceived, rushed out video game versions of movies. But GoldenEye, not only was it a cool game, it actually was better than the movie.
GoldenEye's so good though that like it was like it just came out. Even like in college, like people were still playing it like it was a new game. People still just love the original GoldenEye. I still see it played all the time.